Okay, this is the city commission meeting, Thursday, October the 22nd. Our invitation tonight will be given by Eddie Martis, pastor of the Father Sports Church. Our pledge of allegiance will be led by me, so if you would please stand and gentlemen remove your hats.
Thanks for inviting me and thanks for opening in prayer. Father, we give you all the honor and all the glory. And we acknowledge you, guide our hearts, guide our hands, guide our feet, guide us into wisdom so that you can bless us. Show us what our hands need to do so you can bless the work of our hands. May we walk in love and grace and mercy and unity. Keep us in unity. May we know which heels to bleed on and which heels not to bleed on. Father, may we be sensitive to that voice behind us saying, this is the way, walk you in it. And in Christ's name I pray, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
See you, Eddie.
Okay, roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis,
Here.
Commissioner Moya,
Here.
Commissioner Guerrero,
Here.
Commissioner Arias,
Here.
Mayor Litchfield.
Here. Next is considerations of changes or deletions to the agenda. Is there any?
No, ma'am. No changes tonight.
There being none, I would entertain a motion to accept the agenda as is.
I'll make a motion that we accept the agenda as is.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call please.
Commissioner Moya,
Yes.
Commissioner Guerrero,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes,
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis.
Yes.
public comments, I guess we don't have any tonight. Okay, thank you. The consent agenda is next. It is approved by a single motion. Any member of the commission may request an item be removed, transferred to the regular agenda from the consent without discussion or vote, on the consent agenda is approval of the October 8th work session notes and the October 8th commission meetings. Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Guerrero,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis.
Yes.
Commissioner Moya.
Yes.
Next is ordinances and resolutions. First is resolution 2020-37. Fiscal year 2021 is the first quarter financial actuals. Rochelle?
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Commissioners. So this is our first quarter of the fiscal financials for GFA. So this is taking into account how much we've received in revenue versus how much we've spent on our expenditures. We are sitting at favorable $1,295,189.38. Again, this is only our first quarter, so we look very well right now. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. If not, I would ask for your approval for my resolution.
Yeah, I have one.
Okay, wait, just a second. I'm gonna try to start something new, kind of, so we'll just all go in a flow. So, okay, we'll start with you, Commissioner Moya, do you have a question?
Yeah, I have several. One of them is, this $80,000 negative is on the EMS, it's on 2043.
Yes. So EMS looks really bad right now. I've been working very closely with Casey Mackey, the interim fire chief. There's been a problem with their reporting and it coming back to us so that I can fix the financials. So I'm hoping that by next month and that for sure by the next quarter, I will have that corrected so it doesn't look like that any longer.
Well, that's a lot. That's a big deficit.
That's because they're not receiving, it's not showing any of their revenue that they're getting from the billing, but they have been. But we need the report from the billing company, Omni, to be able to fix it, and I haven't gotten it to fix that.
The billing company don't give it to the financial?
They don't give it to me, they give it to the fire chief.
Why?
That's the way it's set up. I have no contact because
Well,
it's
I can see if
HIPAA.
they would go to them if they want to check and make sure that whoever they bill paid, and then, but at the end of the day, it has to come to financial.
Right, so And I know we hate this, but it's the way it's always been, which I'm trying to change it, so now I have access to that reporting, I just got it. So I can't fix September right now, but I can go fix it going forward.
Well, then how do you correct it how can anybody correct it if you don't know what's being declined or being paid?
Well, the reporting shows what they billed, and it shows what they've adjusted, and then we know what they've received in the bank, so we
Yeah,
know
but
that.
who does when you decline? You see, a lot of the insurance and stuff like that, something's missing, which is not the right diagnosis or medical necessity.
Right.
Okay, if that's not done, then what happens then you have to resubmit it, and usually on those, sometimes you can resubmit it electronically and sometimes you don't. Who is the one doing that is the question.
Somebody in the EMS department, it's not me.
That's what it's important to know, because,
Right.
and I think you as a finance person, you should find out, and they should give you a report on how many are declined and how many are resubmitted and what is being paid.
Right.
Because this is, I've been watching this, and that's why I'm requesting the auditors to look into it, because one of the biggest problem I see on the EMS is the fact is that you constantly see a big deficit
Yeah.
supplemented by the general fund.
Right.
And so my concern is, we either have to be very tight and watch what we're doing, and so that we won't have, this is a big deficit.
I agree with you, 100%.
And the other question I have is maybe, I know we do, and this is something that the city doesn't want to do, but we're gonna have to eventually, if we keep bleeding this back, we're gonna have to look and see if the county's gonna be able to supplement for the extra, unincorporated part of the city, and it's great that we're good people, we wanna help, we wanna be part of our county, but not at the expense of the residents in town.
Right. I think we'll have more information about that when we have the work session on November 12th, I believe. Well,
Fifth,
5th?
to get bumped up because, we'll be addressing it in tonight's.
Okay. Well, so whatever meeting that one is that we're gonna have, we'll hopefully have more answers for that, and maybe then we can come to some kind of conclusion about EMS.
And what do you use the correction, the 3,690 for? You have correction, I mean, yeah.
And so part of it is this prisoner cost, and it goes in that line.
What do we do with it?
So this, it used to go, we used to pay to house the prisoners at the detention center, but that JPA went away. So the money that they receive, it's just been accumulating, and it's actually what's being used to build those offices right now. Because it can roll into general fund.
It can roll in, be careful.
Per the state
Because
statute, it
usually
can roll into
because
general
the
fund.
ticket is a percentile that goes to correction.
Right, it goes to education, it goes to lab. So
Yeah.
this one specifically for
As long as
corrections.
we're in the up and up, we're okay. then.
Yep, I checked with Paula, and she's pulled her statute, and we read it, and it says it can roll into general fund.
Okay, I was a little concerned about that. Now, this on Main Street Capital, you have negative 99,912.
Mhm.
And that's,
That's,
item, 3038
that's because we've spent more than we've received so far this year.
for the Main Street
Mhm.
Capital.
So we've received $71,070, and we've spent $170,982.58.
Okay.
And then again, this is as of September, so if we received any money in October, that's not reflected here right now.
Okay, then we look at the larger stack.
Okay.
The bond area, it shows, 0.12. When we have the facility finance and but under bonds, where is that coming under?
Is that the 1494?
Yeah, 1494.
Okay, and so what was your question on this one? I'm sorry.
We do have still, we're in our last payment on the
On the loan?
loan.
Mm-hmm.
But wasn't that a bond also that was issued there? For the loan?
I don't think it was a bond because it was refinanced. So I don't have it as a bond. It's just the wording on the line on that fund. But this is for that loan. For the
Because I know that when we originally started that, we started with bonds, that's how we constructed it. And now I see it.
But then it was refinanced.
So then that would be under loan, and what would that be under, what item? Oh, here it is, no, it's zero.
What do you mean?
I mean, that'd be under larger stack, but it'd be under what? Because we do pay it out of the executive part.
Right, we pay it out of the executive side, so you won't see it on this particular, report. But it's on the, under 0240. Trying to find it.
I have some other that's morning.
Okay, Commissioner Villanueva, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Commissioner Arias?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis? Okay. All right, I would entertain a motion to accept resolution 2020-37.
I'll make a motion, we accept resolution 2020-37.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis.
Yes.
Commissioner Moya.
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay, next is resolution 2020-38, which is a resolution to request change of termini for 2021. Is it just co-op? Is that what it is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, co-op from the New Mexico Department of Transportation.
Mayor and Commissioners, on this last funding cycle with the DOT, we applied for and received our 2020-2021 co-op grant. It was quite a bit less than what we anticipated, but at the time, we were applying for CDBG as well. And we're planning on using this grant for leverage on that grant. When we did not receive a CDBG grant, it leaves this money hanging out there, and it's not enough to be usable by itself. So we asked to go ahead and change the termini and put this money on Second Street. And in order to do that, they asked us to do a resolution and cover letter. So at this time, I'd like to ask for your permission to do that.
Okay, Commissioner Arias, any questions?
On here, we're still seeing the match, or where are we planning on that match coming out of?
I do not know.
This would come out of, this is First Street, right?
Second Street, yes, ma'am.
Second Street. It will come out of the, infrastructure line, which is in 0772.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis? Okay. Commissioner Villanueva? Okay. Commissioner Moya?
In transferring that, what is it that we added on, what we added this small amount of? What is that part of the matching fund or what, the 17,000?
No, this was the entire grant that we received. It was $17,837, and the city match is $4,459. It was a standalone grant.
Okay,
It was,
so-
I'm sorry.
So now that we moved it from one direction to another,
Yes,
from
sir.
one location to another, what part is it gonna cover on the Second Street project?
It's very general. We can use it wherever we need it.
Okay.
I try to leave those very open-ended, so we're not tied into a
So
particular area.
if we run into over expense.
And we're about to, on the next part of the agenda.
No,
so-
I just wanted to know, not, because
Yeah.
we had already budgeted for the Second Street. project.
Exactly, yes.
That's the full amount.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's better used there than by itself.
No, I'm glad we are, don't get me wrong, but I just, what next, I'd like to see our funding stay within its budget.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept resolution 2020-38.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 2020-38.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis.
Yes.
Commissioner Moya.
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva.
Yes.
Commissioner Arias.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next is resolution 2020-39, which is the budget adjustment request for September 2020 for fiscal year 21.
Okay, so this one is, again, taking these are the adjustments that I made for September. I will be reporting July, August, and September to DFA. This budget adjustment was just, in the amount of $187 between the ins and the outs. Again, that leaves our budget at a deficit of $80,399. And I will be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis, do you have any questions?
No question.
Okay, Mayor Villanueva?
Hi. No, I don't really have any questions.
Don't let it get to your head.
Commissioner Moya?
No, I looked at the budget, it's almost exactly the same questions I had on the other one, and it still shows the 80,000 negative on the EMS.
Right.
And so, that has always been a concern to me, because of the high expense and the subsidizing from the general, budget too. Thank you.
Great.
And I'd just like to reiterate what Rochelle said earlier. Unfortunately, there were things that were done for a certain period of time, for a long time, and it wasn't ideal. So like you stated, we've been meeting with the interim fire chief now, and we're changing some processes, and we're allowing finance to have access to those billing receipt reports. In the past, we were relying on the fire department. So I think that's going to clean things up. There'll be better communication. And by having access directly, we don't have to wait or coordinate with fire and EMS. Rochelle can go in there directly, pull the billing receipt. That way we know exactly what's going on. The other thing I'd probably like to see moving forward is reconciling the money coming in and comparing it to see, like you were saying, what exactly did we not capitalize on? What didn't come in? Can we rebill? And that's where we go back to our billing company and ask them to go back and rebill it under maybe a different code. And ultimately, this is the first, we've only received one check from the new billing company. We were still receiving checks from the previous. So I want to see maybe after a month what we're actually getting in. And then after that, maybe in the future, we can look at maybe some debt collection. But for now, we just want to see what we're able to bring in as far as income.
Well, it's not so much in the debt collection, it's actually when you do billing in that type of level, you really have a lot of decline. And a lot of decline is based on sometimes on the diagnosis, and sometimes the diagnosis, sometimes it's the fact is that you missed a number on it. And what happens, they will send it back, and all you have to do is stay on top of it, look and see what it is, go back and check out the ticket and the services that were rendered, and then recode it and then resend it again. But it will take 90 days in versus the electronic way. I mean, it's probably electronic too. And the problem is when you have something where you don't have the finance company, the finance director overseeing that, there tends to be a slack on some of that. And my concept is that I would like to see a clear picture of how much we're losing. It's not a matter of sending it to the bill collector. It's a matter of knowing how much we're losing, because that's a service that is very much necessity, is mandated that we need to serve. So that we're going to be losing, and I understand that. But sometimes if we can cut the bleeding as much as we can, we'll be in good shape.
I agree. We want to minimize that loss, because obviously that's supplemented through general fund, and that's what's hurting us so much. That's, like I said, we're providing service. We're not making money off that, and we're losing a lot. So we need to minimize that loss. At the end of the day, though, like I said, we are making some changes where it should be more efficient. We'll see that, and it's going to take, on the coding side, that's going to be between EMS and the billing company, and then Rochelle will be handling the finance side.
And not only that, but the whole deal is that we have a different level of services. And that's where sometimes we will not serve, because we're certified as a paramedic, and that's a higher level of reimbursement. And it could be that we're not being billed as a paramedic, even if a paramedic is on site, you actually can't. And what's happening here is that's the kind of information I need to know so that we can do a better efficient services. I know it's going to be a losing publication. I know that. It's not that I don't know, but the least expense that we have to go in there, the better off. The least money going into it from the general budget is better, and it helps all of us in the financing of the city as a whole.
And I agree with you, Commissioner. That's something that was also brought up to EMS. They're billing at a basic level. They weren't billing for all the supplies. I've had those discussions, and things will be changing. Well, if there's paramedic care and it's advanced life,
And that's
we're going to bill for that.
level of reimbursement. It's enough reimbursement to cover the cost. And that's why I can understand why we see such a deficit at the end of the year.
Right.
Thank
And
you.
it's gonna take, so I agree with you 100%. I've been complaining about EMS for many, many, many months. And my concern is just the same as yours. We're in a deficit and it's a problem. So now that I have access to the reports, it's gonna take me a little while because I haven't ever done it before. So I need to look at them and make sure that I understand what I'm seeing.
You might have to get somebody who specifically understands that, because I think you got a lot more, got a lot of things to do.
Right.
And that's something you have to just keep looking at. And like I said, we might even break even and not even have to ask the county for help.
Right. That would be awesome.
Commissioner Arias, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am, I do not. Thank you.
I would entertain a motion to accept resolution 2020-39.
I'll make a motion to accept resolution 2020-39.
Have a second? Did you second it? Okay. All right. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis.
Yes.
Commissioner Moya.
Yes.
Commissioner Guerrero.
Yes.
Commissioner Arias.
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next is resolution 2020-40. It's the approval of the JPA with U Water Reservoir Water Commission.
Yes, ma'am. This is the JPA that's required to make sure we're able to move forward with our allocation of water. It's just being on board with what was approved at the Youth Water Commission meeting. And I think Commissioner Audius knows a little bit more about it since he was able to attend the meetings. So if you wouldn't mind following up on that, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mark. Mayor, so with this, there is a $24,000 acre, or 24,000 acre foot allotment allowed to all the communities on the eastern side of New Mexico. Melrose, Curry County, and Roosevelt County are the latest to drop out of the JPA. They are gonna remain a part of the board without any voting rights. You do see that here towards the top on page 2 under the commission. So they'll be retaining a member, they just won't be having to vote as part of that. And they will also be able to, Melrose has sold their water to Portales, and Curry County has sold their water to Clovis. Now, as part of that agreement, those municipalities will have the option for first refusal if they ever decide to drop out, if those other entities decide to drop out. So it is possible that Melrose and Roosevelt County and Curry County come back in at some point.
So Melrose sold theirs to who?
To Portales.
Portales, okay.
Yes, ma'am. The thing that I'm concerned with is we are seeing the majority of the acre footage being allotted to Curry County and Roosevelt County. So in my humble opinion, the chances of any entity in Clay County gaining an increase from here on out are going to be slim to none. They of course do have that water project going on where they're trying to obtain drinking water out of Butte Lake. That project is still in its construction phase, so it's still going to be a while before that can happen. But of course, I mean, this is in the best interest of their communities. Unfortunately, we just did not win that fight whenever we went for it. This isn't my ideal JPA that I'd like to see us in. However, it was discussed among the entities in Clay County that maybe this is what we need to settle at just to stay under the radar of the ISC. Of course, if they start seeing any rocking of the boat in our area, then the entire agreement might just be scrapped. Right now, it does look like it is going to be passing the ISC. It has already passed the ISC. So the dollar amounts that you see here, the city is going to be incurring a $9,000 cost, which is consistent with what it's been for the past 40-something odd years. So we're not having any extra cost there, and that water is available if we needed it. I would recommend that moving forward, we might want to look at an option to pull out our water if there's ever a need. We currently do not have that infrastructure in place. There is the infrastructure currently between San Juan and Logan, but there's no avenue between Tucumcari and Logan. So I'd like to see that come up sometime in either our capital outlay requests or in our strategic planning sessions. If we can figure out a way, if we ever needed that water, we can easily get to it. Again, it's not the ideal one that I would like to see. However, we do need to maintain our seat at the table, and it is something that is still good for the citizens of Tucumcari. So I would recommend that we get this passed tonight.
Okay. All right, Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis, any questions?
Good job.
Yeah, I'm glad, I appreciate y'all's hard work. I know it was a fight, so, Commissioner Moya?
No, actually, that is something that we're eventually gonna have to look at. In fact, is we have to have a planning of what we're gonna use this 6,000 acre feet of water. As I look at it, it looks like Clovis and Tucumcari are the biggest water holders in water rights. But at the same time, you also look at the fact is that this, if I understand this agreement into 2026, is that correct? And then after that, you draw a new one?
Correct.
And you know what, oh yeah, so this one is only up to 2006, that's how much the agreement is. One of the things is that 6,000 acre feet of water from the city of Tucumcari sits in a very good position because we're probably the only community that has a recharge their aquifer from the Archer Lake, which is unconscious. With 40,000 acre feet of water that comes into our surrounding community, that recharges our aquifers very good. If we continue to grow, it'll be great because now we have extra water to do extra projects. Because one of the things you have to look at is water is gonna be the big commodity in this part of the state, especially as the drought continues to go from year to year. And I don't know what the other communities are gonna do, because they don't have a way of recharging their aquifers like we do, other than Logan.
Well, the great thing too, I think, since like you did mention, we are the second largest holder of water out of Butte Lake. I think we're the only one that actually has the most cost-friendly way of getting it. I mean, to get it to Clovis, it's gonna take millions more.
Yeah, we did.
And for us, it's just a little hop and a skip. So even the cost of the funding of that infrastructure isn't gonna be as great as other communities as well.
And actually, our Shirley goes all the way up to about like less than 10 miles outside of Clovis, the irrigation project that we have right now. So it's easy to ground, gravitation is not gonna be that big of an issue for us.
Yeah.
It's a good pump.
Thank you,
And
Commissioner
we also-
Villanueva. Oh, I'm sorry.
I got no questions, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll say we are also the only entity that's actually using our water right now. We sell a portion to 12 Shores, so we are the only entity that actually puts it to use at this time.
And eventually, we look at some grant way to bring that water in and utilize it either for the parks or for something else. Then we can always have that use of the water and not have to tap our aquifers.
And we do have money allocated already that was specifically earmarked for that project. So that's something to look into. Commissioner Arias and I had talked about it after one of the meetings and discussed that costs are only gonna go up on engineering, on construction, so we need to be proactive. And with that money set aside, we start sitting at the table discussing what do we wanna do exactly, and at least get those plans in place, and then potentially ask for construction funds in the future.
Yeah, because actually you see a lot of communities that are pumping water 20, 30, 40 miles, so actually we're not that far. What is it, 20 to Logan? I don't know what it is. 24, 25, I don't know. I go through there, that's all.
And the intake we're talking about is honestly located closer than that. You could go out through Mine Canyon out towards Ute Lake Ranch. So
Yeah, that's right.
we're in a prime spot where we could even utilize NDOT right away and run the water line through there if we needed to. So we have some great options. We just need to start planning on it and be proactive and not wait till it costs an arm and a leg.
Even if we look at the Tucumcari Lake, this is one area that we can get water from. If we were to be able to develop that, and we need a level of water in there.
Our intake right now is a garden hose and a pump, so it's working so far. So if we need to, we'll continue with it, because I know that needs to go through ISC as well to get that intake. So we might have a push to get that in, but
Water is a good economic that's gonna always help to come here.
So, but thank you both for being on that board and helping us out. All right, so I would entertain a motion to accept resolution 2020-40.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 2020-40.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Webb? Commissioner Webb?
Oh, yes.
Commissioner Villanueva?
Yes.
Commissioner Arias?
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis?
Yes.
Upon the signing of that by the mayor, Mark, will you handle getting that over to Mrs. Gray? Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda is bids and contracts. Approval of Tucumcari Second Street Change Order 1. That would be Ralph Lopez.
Mayor and Commissioners, in the process of beginning to get the street ready for paving, we discovered that the soil underneath our old street is not suitable. It didn't compact well enough to make a good street bed. It might last till the warranty runs out on the paving, but not much after that.
Right.
So we've had to initiate our first change order on Second Street. It also picked up a little basement that was out there that was discovered, and we had to fill it with local fill before we could pave over it. And also, we are going to change the, I think that was in this one. Let me back up and check myself.
Is it completion?
No, I guess it's only for that.
It's
I'm
only-
getting ahead of myself. We've got some other ones in the works. I apologize. This change order would be for the amount of $79,656.98. And we also added time, I believe, to this project as well to complete that, since we're holding them up right now. And this would be the addition of 6 inches of base course and a geogrid to help support that new asphalt pavement.
Right.
Any questions,
Commissioner Davis, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, Commissioner Moya?
I don't.
Okay. Commissioner Arias?
So the funding, that is coming from, we already have available, or is this gonna be an extra expense?
It's above.
So I'll elaborate on that. I had the pleasure of attending the Tim Carey Main Street meeting, and they have graciously agreed, since they helped contribute funds to this project, that we remove brick pavers, which could be a maintenance issue as well. They're very expensive. The maintenance that goes into that's expensive, the labor to install it. We can meet this shortfall from the 79,000 by cutting that back to stamped colored concrete to be consistent with the north side of Main Street. That'll hold up better in the long run. And so that will be how we are able to make up this loss. If not, we have to figure out how we're gonna pay for that. So we think Main Street being supportive with that.
Well, there's some expensive blocks, so they're $80,000.
That's just for the crosswalk at the intersection, as well as some of the pavers behind some of the tree grates. And in my opinion, like I said, in speaking with everybody, everyone was on board to go ahead and switch to the colored concrete, standard colored concrete.
Okay,
Is the contractor expecting, are they noticing anything else that might cause any further?
We have some other issues coming up. It'll have to be addressed with another change order. Some are small in the concrete, and a couple of spots we're gonna have to pull some concrete out and redo them. We're actually discussing that with the engineer. I feel that they were a design error myself, and are negotiating with them before the next change order. Hopefully they can pick up some of the cost on that, so.
So I'm just unfamiliar with construction, so changes like these, or errors or problems like these, are they common? Or was this a lack of planning, or how did this?
I feel that some of it was a lack of planning on the engineer's part. It's really tough, to be honest with you, to prove omissions on their part, or error and omissions, and for an engineer to go to the trouble to actually file with their errors and omissions insurance is a huge deal. Then their investigators get involved too. We're hoping we can just negotiate it with them and see what we can come up with. I don't know the cost of these coming up changes on, they haven't given us a cost on them yet. That's why I said I was getting ahead of myself. I forgot what was on this one and what's the one we're working on now. But we're in the process. We don't feel like we should take the whole brunt of that one, but we're negotiating. See how we.
And I agree, we've done that in previous projects, and I talked to Ralph about this. I said, there's a point where Tigger has to stand up for themselves. We're not gonna be pushed around and, oh, somebody didn't think about something, now we're having to pay for it. So we're really gonna stand our ground and do what we can to see if the engineers want to eat some of the costs, or what we can do to figure that out. But yeah, that's something that's changed. We wanna stand up for ourselves. It's not right that we have to eat that cost.
Yeah, because I mean, the cards for this project really fell into place, so they fell in place barely. So if we can try mitigating some of that cost, that'd be perfect, and thank you for fighting with that. And again, thank you, Main Street, for your help and all that.
Because I don't believe it's Main Street or the city who took care of the responsibility to be creative on how to save money due to some oversights.
Mayor Pro Tem DeSantis?
I concur. I don't know much about construction, but I do know when somebody places a bid on something that it's not our problem if there's more expense. They did submit. And I understand, I agree. I don't think that we should change what we asked for to match up with that, but something came up, Superman can't see through everything.
Well, in my opinion, Mayor Pro Tem, is it's not so much on the contractor, because if something isn't accounted for, they didn't know about it either. They bid on what they were presented. So to me, that goes more back on the engineer.
I agree. But that was, Commissioner Arias got to it before I did, but I feel the same way. I thought about that before when we've had other change orders that, well, this should have something that should have been spotted when we got a bid. But anyway.
Okay. All right, any more? All right, so I would entertain a motion to approve the Second Street change order 1.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the Main Street, or Chicken Carry Second Street change order one.
Do I have a second? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Ganetta,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis,
Yes.
Commissioner Webb.
Thank you.
Next is new business. Thank you, Ralph. Thank you, Connie. We appreciate everything everybody's doing to get that project going.
Yes, ma'am.
Or finished. All right, next is the approval of the holiday schedule for the commission meeting. Do you want to go over that, Mark, or?
I can, or help you either way.
It doesn't matter, whichever. We had a work session earlier, and it was suggested that that the commission meetings for November and December be moved to the first and third Thursday of the month for both November and December. So in November, the meetings will be changed from, they're scheduled right now for November 12th and November 26th, and they will be changed to November 5th and November 19th. For December, right now, they're currently scheduled for December 10th and December 24th, and I don't know about you all, but I don't plan on working on Christmas Eve. So we've changed those to, or recommending that they be changed to December 3rd and December 17th. So again, that would be the first and third Thursday of November and December.
Okay, is there any discussion on this? I think we discussed it during the work session.
I just have one question. I mean, this was the second time I've seen this, and I don't follow calendars very well, but is this something we can just set in place for every year, that we just move the meetings in those 2 months?
But we have an Open Meetings Act that we adopt every year, and it says that we have meetings every second and fourth Thursday.
Could we add an exception to that?
I'm sure we can maybe,
Except
the only
November, December, the first and third.
The only problem with that is that with me changing it, I don't know what your all schedule's gonna be for the holidays. So, I mean, there's been times that we haven't had to change it. So
So it does work better from a,
I would
Year-to-year
prefer
basis.
for it to be year to year instead of it being changed at the beginning, during the resolution part of it.
This year just happened to fall, those Thursdays happen to be Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve.
Right.
Other years it might not be.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to approve our holiday schedule for the first and third Thursday of November and the first and third Thursday of December.
I'll make a motion that we approve the holiday schedule change to the first and third of November and December, Thursdays.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Arias?
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis?
Yes.
Commissioner Webb?
Yes.
Commissioner Ganetta?
Okay, next on the agenda is the city manager's report.
Yes, ma'am. So the first thing I have is an update on the XL, or request XL for lighting at Dunn Park. Unfortunately, we're still at a standstill. The gentleman I need to talk to has had a death in the family. He's been out for a while. I expect him to be out for another week. So I know who I need to contact. I need to talk to him exactly how he wants me to request it. Just unfortunately with a death, I'm not gonna push him, so I'm gonna give him another week and then I'll reach out to him. I want to let everybody know that Rochelle and I met with our insurance agent this week for the annual updates on, to go out for proposal and where we're at. And overall, the insurance was up 3%, which we accounted for, and it fit well to the budget. So we're able to move forward with that. As a follow-up to Commissioner Mora's comment about applying for additional grants, I have reached out to community development and advised them to please start applying for other grants other than the typical grants we apply for. The director stated that they have been. Unfortunately, they have not been successful in those grants. So I just told them, keep on trying. We won't get all of them, but we got to continue to try to expand and apply for new grants. As mentioned in our work session, Fast TV was here in Chicken Carry filming this week. So in 3 to 4 weeks, be on the lookout for that to be available. We also have had auditors at City Hall this week. That's going well. I can't elaborate on that too much until it's released. And also, due to continual vandalism to our city parks and city property as a whole, we have decided to close down the skate park. It was open, there's no gate. So today, I believe a gate was installed. Cameras have been vandalized. We've had the swimming pool vandalized. We've had city parks vandalized. We've had security cameras vandalized. We've had windows vandalized. I can't help but to think people have too much time on their hands with COVID. I don't know what it is. But unfortunately, we provide these services, the parks and the rec center. And it's costly to go back and have to replace these things over and over, having to replace the windows, having to replace security cameras. So unfortunately, at this time, until further notice, we're going to go ahead and shut down the skate park. And I also encourage, if anybody witnesses anybody vandalizing anything, any city property, to please contact our police department. We want to put a stop to this. It's costly and it's detrimental to the city. It's not fair. We try hard to try to provide things, and we can't continue to do that sometimes because of vandalism. Also, branding committee met this week again to go over potential logo. A rough draft was released, and plan to present that at the next lodgers tax meeting. Also, I've been working with our wastewater superintendent in an effort to kind of negotiate and work on the current draft that's been sent to EPA and NMED for a discharge permit. They were asking some very, very strict limitations and asking for additional sampling that wasn't really fair, and I didn't believe it was required. So we did some research and did some work, and I'd also like to thank Janet Garcia that worked on that as well, reaching out to local labs. There's certain methods you have to use to test for certain chemicals and whatnot, and some of the requests they had were really, really, really difficult to meet, and to be honest, weren't even conducted throughout most of the United States. So I think we made some progress, and it looks like we'll be able to get that changed, as well as reduction. They're asking to have something sampled every 2 weeks, which is very costly. Most of our samples now will be conducted annually. So all of this will take effect once it's approved, and it'll be in effect until we can get our wastewater total reuse permits approved, and once we get that project done. And then at that time, we'll decide whether or not we can meet the limitations that they're imposing, if we're able to continue and have that discharge permit as a backup, or if we should just do away with it and go strictly 100% total reuse. But we always want to account for an emergency if something were to happen with our use system. And we also have flirted with the idea of maybe trying to ask for seasonal discharge if necessary. It's a lot harder to get rid of the water during the winter with the reuse system. But that's a bridge we'll cross later. But a lot of effort went into that with EPA and NMED, and I'd like to thank NMED. They helped us out as well to make those changes. I also have an update on the housing. We had some side conversation earlier, had some commissioners curious on where we're at with that. So as a whole, I talked to Chris Herbert from Eastern Regional a couple of days ago, and everything except the chaparrals will be completely transferred hopefully by the end of the calendar year. There has been some holdups because of COVID. We are still in talks about transferring the chaparrals. Unfortunately, at this time, we need to have everybody come to the table. We're waiting on USDA. That's the only key party that hasn't been able to be reached and to get these meetings kickstarted. Again, to go hand in hand with the city insurance policy as discussed, we will continue to insure the chaparrals, but Eastern Regional will reimburse us for those costs, and there's no cost associated with the chaparrals to the city. So like I said, it's a slow process, but it's still taking place, and I expect to have an update towards the end of the calendar year. That's when we're expected to make the transition complete. Also, had an update on the west side of town. Commissioner Moya asked last commission meeting about some of the old lab professional. Curry is trying to work with him in an effort to get that cleaned up. It sounds like there has been some progress made, so we'll continue those efforts. And I believe that is it. There's probably something else I overlooked, but it's been busy. And every time, in between commission meetings, 2 weeks, there's a lot that goes on. And After that, I'd send for any questions, if not.
Commissioner Artis, any questions?
No,
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, on the west side part, you said you're getting some response on it and getting it cleaned or what? From the owners or what?
Yes, sir.
Take that one for example.
So Payless, for example, she specifically mentioned them. She's talked. And in an effort, there has been some metal removed already. There's been some clean issue that we have right now is the continual illegal dumping that people just passing through are dumping their stuff on their property.
Is the metal removal by the people who owns it, or is it people just scrapping it?
It sounds like it was moved from the people that own it. Like I said, it's not gonna get clean overnight, but there is progress, and ultimately that's what we want. And the property owners need to and working to completely remediate it at some point.
And the Paradise?
Same. I don't think we've had as great success with that, but it does sound, again, code enforcement's been in contact with them. They're working on an effort to try to get that cleaned up.
If it doesn't happen, who's going to, what's gonna happen? Just like the rest, goodbye?
Continue. I mean, the process we want to
We don't have.
put out there is we want to be courteous and we want to try to talk to them first. And if we can't get it accomplished, I agree, but we have new administration. We have a little bit different vision and we're working on it. So with time, and like I said, if talking doesn't work, then that's where we escalate it to the next level. And we try to send out letters. And then if that doesn't work, we issue citations. But there's a process. We want to provide customer service and then do it in a nice way. That we've done now. You get a lot more. It goes a long way if you're courteous.
Yeah, well, look, the relax, they did it in 2012, and still the same condition it was when the city condemned it in 2012. You know, I think we're gonna have to start looking and see how we can really get into that situation, and maybe
Okay, I got one thing. You're talking about the vandalism, like at the pool, are they caught on camera? Did they actually prosecute these guys that did the vandalism?
But that's something I need to follow up with the chief just to make sure 100%, but they were looking into it.
And like I say, I try to keep an eye on the red, but it's hard, you know. But of course, the potholes, have you heard anything else about the machine?
It's up and going. They've been out patching, and then again, we'll be down next week because we're expecting cold weather. Anytime you have cold weather or moisture, I'm sure you can relate to that. It's unfortunately we have to shut down potholes. So the pothole machine at least.
And how about the cemetery wall? What's going on with that?
Cemetery wall, I need to, I'm glad you brought that up. I actually need to reach out to our insurance agency. He had sent me an email asking his preference if he wanted the city to repair it or if we wanted to hire someone to repair it and charge it back to the individual's insurance. So my thought, we didn't break it, so I prefer to contract and have someone else fix it. And then that gives our guys some time to do it. Their hands are full with now. I don't want to burden them with something else. So I will follow up on that email.
You good?
All right. Next is commissioners' comments, items from commissioners. Commissioner Arias?
thank you, Mayor. I have just a few things tonight. I'll start with the most controversial. I've had a few citizens call and reach out and ask, I know the governor has encouraged not to participate in trick or treating or Halloween this year. Is the city going to endorse that plan as well, or what's our official response going to be?
My opinion is I'm not going to tell citizens what to do. That's on them. I'm not going to endorse anything either way. That's kind of, I feel, out of my scope and possibly the commission's scope as well.
Thank you all. Okay, thank you. I do want to thank Connie for your hard work. I know you're always busy with Main Street, and I'm telling you all that logo that was presented, it paints Tucumcari in a very positive, direct light. I think the community is really going to like that, and I know it's going to be presented to the Lodgers Tax Board shortly after that. Because we also have it presented here, just that way the commission can see what that's going to look like.
Yeah, so I'd encourage maybe some kind of a work session or meeting or something where we have time to just kind of show them and yes, I'll leave it at that. That's something else, but I'll show them and Yes, I'll leave it at that. That's something else, but I'll say that for later.
Ralph, I don't imagine the headaches you're having, but thank you for your good work on that. Rochelle as well, thank you. I can see where you're gonna have your hands full with that, with EMS. Commissioner, Mayor Pro Tem DePlantis touched on this at our last meeting, and I think it's just important that we reiterate it. We're almost there. This election's almost over. Be kind to your neighbor, because at the end of the day, they're still your neighbor. I will close with a quote from Pope John Paul II, the Great. The worst prison is a closed heart. I think I think some people have closed their hearts in these past couple of months, and the worst prison is a closed heart. I think some people have closed their hearts in these past couple of months, and we need to reopen that and rejoin together as a community. Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem DePlantis.
I have a lot to say, but I'm not gonna say it. I'm just curious, has the DOT ever gotten back about 54 over here?
They have not.
Can we kind of poke the bear? You know,
How hard?
I was very encouraged when they came down. That was a lot more than what had happened in the past, but I don't want them forgetting about it. You know, when I say poke the bear, I'm not saying let's be mean or anything, but let's just send a reminder that, you know, they saw and they agreed that we have a problem and it need to be fixed, and they had some ideas. I just would hate for them to put it on the back burner and forget about it.
I want to say I emailed them a follow-up after that. I'll search in my emails, and if not, I'll send another email.
And thank you for staying on the Dunn Park. You know, no matter who wins the presidency and who the governor is or our representatives, they're not gonna be our neighbors. They're not gonna fix anything for us. You know, when we have problems, we go to our neighbors. I agree, let's all be nice to each other. That's all I got to say about it.
I'm just wondering, we were having that problem with our little, that you were talking about the wastewater with the drain pond. How far are we from accomplishing that with the EPA that was already getting our case about dumping into the drain pond because it's going to Canadian?
Which it never did. That's very arguable, but to answer your question, that was also addressed in this draft permit. I was able to write a letter and ask for an extension of time. So we now have 3 years to complete the whole process. So right now we are in negotiation with an engineer. Can't discuss more than that until it's official. I hope to have a contract hopefully by next meeting, since we bumped everything up a week. It may not be till the second meeting in November. And then at that point, they'll start design. And then once it's designed, then we'll go out for bid and go to construction. So I imagine if everything goes smoothly, which it usually doesn't, we should be finished well within that 3 years. I expect to be done sometime in 2022, hopefully.
And in that real estate that we bought, we paid for it already, right? What is it, Smith or?
We did. We acquired the property and we've actually already been reimbursed for that.
Okay, who was utilizing it, or is it empty?
I believe it is empty. We allowed Mr. Smith to keep his stuff on there for a short period of time.
I'm sure.
We never really set a strict date, so that's something that we'll have to discuss.
But sometimes those 300 acres, a lot of rental property that we can actually have some sort of revenue coming in. You know, we paid the price for it. It's ours, let's see if we can get some sort of revenue in.
I think at this point, it's gonna be tight just to make sure everything's in compliance. There's certain samples we do have to take. There's monitoring wells on the property already.
Are you dumping the water there?
We are not. Everything, we're still underneath our current discharge permit, so it still goes to
That's what I
Green's Pond.
figured. But the utilization of the property is something that belongs to the taxpayers, and certainly we can't have one individual not utilizing it without reimbursing the taxpayers.
I agree.
And I know, I can talk about the reusable recharge water. Yes, you do still have to get a permit for it and monitor it. It's not that you don't have to get a permit, you do have to.
No, maybe I misspoke.
Yeah.
I noticed I said that earlier, but we don't have to have the discharge permit to EPA anymore. That would
No.
be strictly through groundwater with NED.
Yeah, that's a different permit that you do, and it's a costly little permit.
Correct.
The question I have is on the follow-up on the questions I had last week. When I went out there and saw that wall, and I asked you questions about the cemetery, it was looking pretty bad. How far are we beginning to address that? And then the bad part is where the soil had really eroded away because of the high wind and the extreme dryness, which has made it into powder, the soil.
So again, like Commissioner Villanueva brought up, where I need to follow up with the insurance agent, and then we'll get a timeline when we could actually fix the wall. In regards to the erosion, we could haul dirt in there, and we've still been working, I say we, Tomas has been working on obtaining the second quote for a pump out there, and that's gonna help things in the future. I expect by springtime, we'd have a new pump in there, fix what leaks arise, reseed in the spring, and hope to get some grass out on that dirt so it controls the erosion.
Let me ask you a question. The water that we pump, is that the water that's coming out of our water wells?
So yes, so the water that feeds the cemetery comes off of the well line. It's not pressurized, so that's why we need a booster pump. So from there, it's diverted from the well line. You have a water tap, then you have your booster pump, and that's why there's no pressure to pop up the sprinklers. And what we need to do now is install a new booster pump, but it's quite costly.
Yeah.
Which we will do. We're gonna put the money aside to get it done. We just need that additional quote to move forward with procurement.
Have we ever done a study that maybe we should utilize some of our own, water rights that we have from our Turley to bring it in and then boost it out? Because actually, I'll be honest with you, that cemetery looks pretty sad. And I have never seen it that way. It's always been real greenish, it's been beautiful, and now it's looking like a cow pasture. Or grazed it.
And I agree, that's something that should have happened a long time ago. And like I said, I have the power to move things and help now where it's a priority. It's something we will get done by the spring. And like I said, we're one quote away from actually getting the pump, and that's the first step. The next step is hauling in the dirt, leveling it out, and then planting grass. Obviously, we're not gonna be able to do that during the winter, so we'll do that during the springtime, and that will help with the erosion, that will help green it up, we'll have the water, and then we have to do everything that follows.
Yeah, because it really looks sad, yeah.
I agree.
And that's a very sensitive area for people. And then, of course, your friend on the north side, have you gotten taken care of it?
I have. I've received another phone call since our last meeting, and it's the same thing about watering. And I can tell you now, I talked to Tomas today, and we're gonna cut back watering. Obviously, we're gonna have to shut some of the sprinklers down because we're expecting to freeze, and next week the weather's gonna drop down. But the leak was taken care of, and that was one of the park as well that had vandalism. So unfortunately, one of the concrete benches was broken, and we don't have money in the budget to just go buy new benches, so that's why we asked to please, if you see anything, please report it.
Well, you know, I have a lot of cameras in some of my buildings, and I can tell you one thing, most of the people that you see out there doing destructive at night, because on cameras pick it up, it's usually around 2, 3 in the morning. I was shocked to see one guy trying to start a fire in the back of my sister's building, I can be emailed. Then the other day, another guy was going down the alley where the cameras was, and he had an axe, and I guess he was either contemplating either hitting the building with it, or what, but finally he decided to just start covering the concrete, and the cameras caught it, you know what I mean? So most of the people that I see are on the cameras I'm right down on 2nd Street, usually it's about 2, 3 in the morning, that's before sometimes. It's not early, and it's not even up to midnight, it's after 1 o'clock, you see all that in the camera. I'm surprised how many people are out there that late. And that's all I have.
Okay, Commissioner Villanueva. Okay. The only thing I have to say is, it's been reported, and I've been asked several times in person, that I am implementing a curfew. Well, I have let you know I am not. That was Mayor Trujillo in Las Vegas, New Mexico, not me. So, and I don't mind if you ask me, but if you'd ask me nicely instead of being rude, I would appreciate that even better.
What kind of curfew was it? 10 o'clock?
Yeah, that's for everybody, the whole town. Nobody could be out after 10.
I violated it.
Well, I'm not implementing the curfew.
I never heard of it. This is the first time I heard.
So, there's lots of, the vandalism is very upsetting because whoever's doing it doesn't realize it's the citizens of Tucumcari that are having to pay for it, and when your taxes get raised because of things like this, and then we complain about our taxes being raised, well, maybe you need to check and see if it's your children that are out there doing some of the vandalism. So, I'm tired of everything being blamed on COVID. Vandalism's been going on for a long time, so, yes, COVID, but if they were at home doing their schoolwork, even if it's online, maybe they wouldn't be out doing vandalism. The swimming pool, who are you hurting? You're hurting yourself. It's like the parks. And so, and the skate park, that's sad. But think about it. They're only hurting themselves. So, and mask, I have no idea why it's such a controversy to wear a mask to the grocery store, the post office, anytime in the dollar stores. I don't know why that's such a problem. I would appreciate it if you would, because, I'm very susceptible to some of the things that are going around right now, and I don't want your disease. I know Commissioner Villanueva has health problems. So, just wear your mask. Don't gripe about it. And the ugliness right now is totally out of hand. And my mother always told me, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Name calling's not doing anything but causing rifts between people that used to be friends. And it's really kind of sad. So, the election, whoever's the president, it's our president, period. It's not gonna do any good to call him name or her names or the governor names. It shows no class. So come on, people, just show a little class, be classy. And I know some of us have even been called names, and if you don't like what we're doing, run against us. Get on the board, get on the commission and find out. It's not as easy as you think it is. And we're all trying our best, so we appreciate it if you would try your best to at least be nice. If you don't like me, that's fine. I'm not here for everybody I'm not trying to win a personality contest. So anyway, that's all I have to say. So I hope you have a good evening, Chief Latham. Thank you again for coming. We always appreciate having you here. It makes us feel a little bit safer. Radio, thank you, Russell. We appreciate you, Karen, always. Connie, we appreciate you, and Ralph, we appreciate all the work you're doing over at Planning and Development. So everybody keep up the good work, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a second?
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Litchfield?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis?
Yes.
Commissioner Moya?
Yep.
Commissioner Villanueva?
Yes.
Commissioner Arias?
Yes.
Turn off recorders.
Commissioner Moya, just to let you know, in my